The Boston Celtics have wrapped up their regular season seeding games down in the bubble, so time to assess how they did in their 8 games leading up to their playoff run. I'm Sierra Goodwill here with Bobby Manning and Josue Pavon. Celtics finishing 5-3 if we count that last game against the Wizards where their top 6 players didn't even see the court. But overall, the top players really looked good in this restart after that 3-4 month break. MVP of the bubble. Bobby, you first.
All right, Josue, I just said it. I'm not going to go Daniel Tice. I was tempted, but the steals, the threes, he played really well. I was tempted to go in that direction, but I'm not going to do it.
Jalen Brown. I'm not going with Tice. That's a good one.
No, he was great. He didn't play today, but 7 games before that, 7 excellent performances, defensively, the steals, all that. But I'm going with Jalen Brown. He set a tone in the preseason, came back. More than anyone at the level he was playing at in March. And then I'd say about 7 or 6 out of the 7 games that he played in, he was hanging with everybody defensively. He was setting a tone on the offensive end with his sharp drives, transition, control on the ball. And he was leading the team in scoring through about 6 games. So he got them through those early ruts. We were concerned about this team through 2-3 games, and he got them out of that period. I know Tatum came up late. Hayward was good throughout, but Jalen Brown was excellent throughout, not to mention the tone that he was setting off the court.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Gordon Hayward here because no one caught more crap really than Hayward before this hiatus. We gave him a hard time on the Garden reports. It just never seemed to click for him. It almost seemed like he was in his head. There was always a lot of questions to Brad Stevens about whether or not Hayward's confidence was where it needs to be. Well, apparently all it takes is isolating him away from his family, his million children to get him focused on basketball because he's playing at a really high level. He's playing really aggressive. Really good to see Hayward now playing at the level of the other wings around him on this team. Josue, who are you going with?
It's because he's back with the boys. I love it. I think it has a lot to do with it. You know,
that dunk against Memphis. Ooh.
What's that? Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, Gordon's been great. Both great options, but I'm going to give it to Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum, I don't think this was by design, but I think that first showing was an example for an entire team to show, hey, yeah, anyone can put up a dud, but the way you respond to it is what matters most. And that's exactly what he's done. His efficiency is so crucial for this team in the postseason, and he's showing that, obviously, right now, getting those reps in. So, yeah, I'm going to give it to him. When we're talking about who you rely to at the end of the games and who can put the team on his back, it's certainly Jason Tatum, whether it was the 24-point lead that they blew against the Trailblazers, or the way he was able to put things, take care of the game in overtime. I just think it's really important for this team to have someone like that. So I'm definitely going Tatum.
I just didn't go Tatum because of his stinker in game 1, but also a good
that was bad
sign for the Celtics that all 3 of us had different answers there. And I think you could also make the case for Kemba Walker, even though he had limited minutes. So the top guys on this team really doing their job in the regular season games. Let's move to a little bit more of a negative note. Your biggest disappointment, guy that didn't show up the way you wanted him to in this regular season 8-game stretch. Josue, we'll start with you this time.
I'm going to go Grant Williams. I'm really surprised he didn't show out one of these games. I'm not expecting him to, of course, do like a huge triple-double or anything like that, but just it seemed like he had momentum going in the right direction before the break. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. The last couple of weeks before the break, you saw him slow down, but I didn't think it'd be this much of a drop-off, with the stoppage. So I was surprised by that. And Brad Stevens, of course, had a short leash for him, so that's why you didn't see him a whole lot throughout the last few games.
Yeah, I was going to say Grant Williams as well because he was a mainstay in this rotation for the most part of the regular season before this break, and he's just been outplayed. And I know you can count on Rob Williams is now back from his injury, and Brad Stevens wanted to mix in some of the other guys in the bubble, but Grant Williams definitely not where he was before the hiatus. Bobby, I cut you off. Who you have?
Yeah, I'll add a little more on Grant. In terms of level of play in the rotation, he got passed by Rob Williams, which we didn't expect. He got passed by Semi Ojeleye to some degree in terms of play. I don't know about rotation, but he sank down the depth chart. And I'm interested to see if he's going to get any run at all in the playoffs. But I have a different choice, actually, and it fits in with what we saw today. Romeo Langford, disappointing rookie season, and then with a chance to show off some of the strides he made over the 4 months. We saw a lot of guys like Brad Wanamaker, Rob, as mentioned, make those strides, come into this almost as a new season. And Romeo, it was a lot of the same, like some flashes of greatness. I remember we talked about him a ton after the Nets game when he flashed his defense. And then, he disappears for another 3 games. And against Washington today, he hurts his wrist. So it's the story of his season in a 4 or 5 game span that, 25% flash of potential, then 75% missing in action. Doesn't feel like he's going to play at all in the playoffs. I think he's out of the rotation entirely.
Well, for all of our Boston Celtics playoff coverage, you can find it on our website at clnsmedia.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel over at Celtics All Access.